Have with us Suranjana Borthakur, Head of Distribution and Strategic Alliances at Mirae Asset Investment, and Sandeep Bagla, CEO at Trust Mutual Fund, joining in. Sandeep, let me start this discussion with you. Time to get concerned. I think this would be, what, fifth, sixth month in a row we've seen a decline in equity inflows. And what is the cash holding with the mutual fund industry on an aggregate, and what would explain this May number?
Hi, good afternoon. Yeah, I don't think it's a time to get any concern. The main source of inflows in mutual funds, and probably the right barometer, would be the SIP inflows, and those numbers are robust. These are the numbers which are going to come month after month into the industry for the future years to come. The bulky inflows and outflows can happen. There could be profit booking. See, there are concerns on growth. There is uncertainty over the Trump tariffs. There are political issues, geopolitical issues. So it is only fair that the inflows will take a breather and people will book profits from time to time. I don't see it as any concern for the flows for the future of the mutual fund industry at all. There is also the issue that, how much cash is there. I would assume that about 5% cash would be there in the industry. And I have said it earlier also, this cash has been created because the growth and earning outlook is slightly unclear. This cash will be deployed only when the earning cycle will pick up and there is more clarity. So I think this is a normal level of cash in the industry given the overall scenario, and it will not come down. So I don't think that mutual funds are going to deploy in a hurry. Only when the outlook improves, that money is going to get invested.
Suranjana Borthakur of Mirae is also joining in. Suranjana, good morning. Thank you for joining in. Would you be concerned? Sandeep is not concerned considering the reduction in the inflows that you've seen. Would you be concerned looking at this number, especially considering the fact that the markets have now started to stabilize over the last few months? So then if a market being in a downward trajectory and you see a decline in inflows, you may understand that. But what do you make of this decline in inflow when the markets are stabilizing?
Good morning. I think I would agree with Sandeep. I think the numbers don't look very concerning. But of course, in terms of the new inflows, if you see, I think all categories, mostly the numbers have come down a little. Multi-cap is the only category probably which has gained from last month. And I think flexi-cap has probably fallen the most. I think if we look at from an investor point of view, if we stay invested or don't redeem funds, that is also a big positive point. I think in these volatile markets, if anybody requires the money, they should take out the money. But if in case they do not require the money, the advice is to stay invested probably for a longer period. Arbitrage has also gained as a category, I believe, and otherwise, mostly MAF or equity savings, etc., have also come back. So I think equity categories as such, it's not a dramatic fall. As long as the SIP numbers are intact, I think it's okay.
But I think in the month of May, per se, the markets were higher. I was just trying to calculate. But if I remember, I think overall the Nifty or the mid-cap index had given a positive return. So in that context, are you surprised that we've seen this extent of outflows, May versus not outflows, but a decline in the inflows, a moderation in the inflows?
I think also it must be seen in the context. See, there's one issue that once the returns start picking up, the flows will also pick up. So the flows are somewhat influenced by the returns in the immediate past. So I think there are two positive factors. Once the returns have been good, which should bolster the confidence of the retail investor. Secondly, interest rates have come down and gradually deposit rates will also come down. So I think that will also sort of, nudge the investor to invest in avenues which are potentially higher return generating. So I think given the fact that interest rates have come down and the economic outlook should improve, I think these two factors are going to contribute towards future flows. So I think the future flows should pick up, and I think the performance and the liquidity both will matter.
Suranjana, the large cap fund inflow, which bucked the trend last month, as Reema was highlighting, that is down almost 50% from last month when it comes to the inflow number. The mid cap and small cap fund figures, yes, they have declined month on month, but they are fairly okay when you look at the headline number, at least. It's not as drastic a fall as the large cap fund is. Whenever the stabilization of flows does happen, do you see the large caps now getting a higher share of the inflows, especially because now there is a consensus building up that it is the large caps where is the place to be in the markets, considering the fact that the mid caps and small caps have run up significantly? Do you believe that is likely to happen, or with the mid cap and small cap funds, or even the flexi cap funds, or any other fund for that matter, continue to garner more inflows?
So in my mind, two parts to it. I think firstly, overall, if we see the downfall that has happened in terms of the inflow number, like I said, it's not a dramatic downside. It's still about 20,000 crores almost, which has come in. I think in terms of valuations, obviously, large cap category is relatively looking much more attractive. But our thought process has always been that if you have a longer time span in terms of investments in India, you should have enough allocation to mid and small as well. It's only when you have enough allocation in the broader market that you will be able to create wealth. But having said that, if you look at the inflow numbers, I do see a larger cut in terms of flexi cap as well as the large cap segment. The mid and small haven't fallen so dramatically. But what is encouraging to my mind is probably the inflow if we see in terms of the hybrid category. What Sandeep was also mentioning, probably the fact that the deployment is awaited in terms of additional inflows. There is a larger inflow which has happened in the arbitrage segment also, which is probably right now the money which people want to deploy in the market but are keeping in the arbitrage segment for the time being. So if we see the hybrids from a 14,000 crore to 20,000 crore is actually a very encouraging number. And I think categories like multi-asset, etc., which actually has been very attractive for the last few months, that continues to be a category which attracts new money. And I think long-term inflows have been intact there. BAF is another category where the inflows have gone up. To my mind, in a volatile market, probably the inflow in all hybrid categories increasing is very encouraging. In equity, probably there will be a little more time to make the additional deployment. But when additional money comes in, probably larger money would go into the large and flexi cap categories.
Got that. Thank you very much for that. It's still the 51st month of net inflows into the Indian equity markets. The only thing is that there is a sharp drop-off compared to April. So equity inflows are moderated for the 5th consecutive month now. And month on month, it's a decline of close to about 20%. Awaiting the SIP inflow, which up until now has been very, very resilient. We'll thank both our experts for joining in and sharing their insights. Here is some update for all our viewers as we slip into a break. Give an edge to